Once again, it's on. You know what time it is. It's time to play some toss. Welcome, everyone, to episode 98 of the Tristain Sports Show Toss. Yes, it is your main man, T-Squared, Trisha Thomas. Thank you so very much for joining us this week. What do we got on tap? We got to play a little bit of catch-up with Wisconsin sports and state of the state. We're talking Packers Week 5 and Week 6 action. We're talking the Brewers' massive failure in the NLDS. Bucks finish up preseason and get to the real deal. Ring night, banner night, and a huge win to open the season. And then the toss sweep, we're going all over the place. We're talking a little bit of WNBA. We're talking about MLB postseason. It's a little bit of everything in the toss sweep because that's just what we do. That's how we run it. But you all know how we get things started here on Toss. We get things started with the state of the state. And let's get to those Green Bay Packers as we alluded to in the rundown here. Now, I will say this. We said we had to play a little bit of catch up. So that means we got to talk about Week 5 action. Week 5 was in Cincinnati against the Bengals. Young Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, all those fellas out there. A defense that is scrappy, plays decently, keeps them in games. I said on Quick Toss, which you can catch on Facebook, facebook.com/T-On Sports Show. That's T-O-N Sports Show, as well as YouTube, that the Packers would be in for a fight with this young upstart squad. This was not going to be easy. And it really wasn't. It was really a close back and forth game. Packers defense showed up. They knuckled up. Gave up a few big plays, as you come to expect with Jair Alexander, their best cover corner, out. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Couple plays here, couple plays there. And then here comes the yips. And you know what? I can't even call it the yips because it seems like every few years, because he's been doing this for a long time, Mason Crosby has one of those games where he just hiccups. And that's for lack of a better term. I don't know what to call it. It's just one of those really, really terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days. Remember a few seasons back where he missed, I believe it was 5 kicks I believe it was 5 kicks in Detroit. Packers ended up losing that game at Ford Field. Then the next few seasons, he righted the ship. Damn near automatic. Before this game, he had made 27 consecutive field goals. Worrying about Mason Crosby did not exist. Figured things out, ironed it out, boom. Back on target. Reliable, you can count on him. Close game situation, all you need to do is get field goal range. You feel good about it. But then Crosby, and before we get to Crosby, the Bengals kicker, McPherson, missed kicks too. Let's be clear. This was not a clinic on kicking field goals. Not at all. But Mason Crosby proceeds to miss 3 field goals. He also missed the extra point that caused this game to end up being tied anyway. He makes the extra point earlier in the game after the Packers score a touchdown. Packers win by 1. No need for overtime. But instead, he misses the kick, the extra point, misses the field goals, including in overtime. And it's at this point, it's like, okay, we can't really rely on him this game. You don't ever say you can't rely on him anymore. That's the overzealous, over-emotional fan that will come out and say that. Crosby's too old. He doesn't have it anymore. Why are we relying on him? We should be going for the score. Well, except the Packers' red zone offense has just been atrocious, as has their red zone defense. They've both been equally atrocious this season. Near the bottom of the league on both sides of the ball as far as red zone offense and defense. So you can't really say, well, let's rely on Aaron Rodgers because they haven't been able to get it done when they get inside the gold zone is what they call it. Offensively or defensively. Defense can't stop anybody in the gold zone. The offense can't score in the gold zone. If you're asking why I'm calling it the gold zone, it's because that's what the Packers call it, the gold zone. So it's not like you can really rely on your offense to go in there and get the job done in that zone. So you have to rely on your kicker. But it's also a double-edged sword. Your kicker has shown that you can't rely on him today. He's missing far too many kicks, as is the Bengals kicker McPherson, missing too many kicks. You can't really rely on your kicker. Why not just go for the win with your offense? And it's at that point in the game where Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, I felt really went conservative. It was just too conservative. It gave me flashbacks of the NFC Championship game. Kicking the field goal as opposed to going for it on 4th and short and making the Buccaneers have to drive a long field to pick up pick up first downs to milk the clock out. You had a much better opportunity going for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and short, as opposed to kicking in a field goal, then kicking it off, giving them a much shorter field, as opposed to 99, 98 yards they would have to drive to go and pick up first downs. But I digress. It's that kind of conservative play calling that always worries me, because when you play not to lose, you lose more times than not. Herm Edwards said it best. You play to win the game. I guess he feels that that's how you play to win the game. I say it's conservative play calling. Luckily, it did not come back to bite them. They eventually won that game. Crosby finally made a field goal after all those misses. Packers escaped with a really tough win. They moved on to week 6 action against the Bears. Some people say it's a one-sided rivalry. I don't know if you could truly call it a rivalry, but, it's the oldest matchup in all of the NFL. 200-plus times these teams have gone up head-to-head against each other. Again, I said on Quick Toss, this was going to be a fight. Games in Chicago always are. Divisional games always are. The oldest rivalry in the NFL always is. It's usually a fight. Again, another close game, another back and forth game. Both defenses, especially to start the game, really for the offense for the Packers was virtually non-existent because of that Bears defense, especially that front line. That defensive front for the Bears was just getting after him. You talk about in his first 4 dropbacks, Aaron Rodgers was sacked twice. They were getting after him with Quinn. They were getting after him with Khalil Mack. They were getting after him in different spots with the safety coming in sometimes for the blitz. I mean, they were getting after him, and they were getting home to start that game off. Then the offensive line got it back together. That offensive line that's peppered with young talent held up very well. Rodgers runs in to score to seal that game, give them the 24-14 win. Apparently he owns them now, or he always has. It's one of the great sports moments. That's going to be replayed forever, probably. Especially in a rivalry like this. Yeah. I was really pleased with what I saw from that offensive line. Yet again, they continue to do great work, especially against tough defensive fronts. They're holding their own. It's a mix of veteran, but mostly young offensive linemen. You got rookies peppered all in there. And they are holding up. So imagine what happens if Bakhtiari comes back. Jenkins was back, and he looked pretty decent. Not worse for wear with that ankle injury. Great to have him back. But if Bakhtiari, who is practicing, comes back soon, and he starts to play well, you get some continuity with that offensive line, you may very well have the best offensive line in all of football. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say. But our offensive line held up well. That defense just stayed in it. You're missing Kevin King. You're missing Jair Alexander. You're missing linebackers. You got defensive players going down and coming back, then going back down all game long. Darnell Savage being one of them. And somehow, some way, you're still piecing together enough stops and getting enough offense to pull these wins out. As I mentioned before, Packers win this one 24-14. They're now 5-1. Tops in the NFC North. One game behind the undefeated 6-0 Arizona Cardinals, which they will see in a couple of weeks. I believe that's a primetime game. You have to be pleased with what you've seen to this point after 6 ball games with the Green Bay Packers. They continue to be in it. They continue to piece together these performances, doing the things necessary to win. The most exciting thing about all of this is the fact that they're not even fully healthy, number one. And number two, there's opportunity for growth. They can get better. Five-game winning streak. Some people say, well, how much better can they get? Well, they won 5 games in a row after that rough start to the season down in Jacksonville against the Saints. But if you look at how they have played and how they've gone about business, I just mentioned their red zone struggles on both offense and defense. That could get cleaned up. Passing game could be better. It could be a little bit quicker. They could go a little bit more up-tempo. The running game could be much more utilized and be a little bit more potent, even though they had, I believe, 154 yards rushing against the Bears, week 6. Special teams could be cleaned up. We've seen far too many big returns. So there's a lot of opportunity for this team to get better. And they're 5-1. Winners of 5 straight. That should excite everyone. It's the oldest rivalry in the books. Another round goes to Green Bay. 5-1, won 5 straight. They've got a date with the football team at Lambeau Field wearing those sweet old school unis. Those things look fly. Ready for that game. And that's going to be another fight. You talk about a team that has had their rash of injuries. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to want to come into Lambeau Field and knock you off. So you need to be careful and you need to go and handle business. But I'll admit, before we move on, that game against the Bengals, and I mentioned it on Quick Toss, I was hoping for a tie. I was hoping for a tie because neither team deserved to win that game. But as I said before, that is just the emotional thinking side. The professional in me wanted Mason Crosby to get a redemption story, and he did that. And then he did the job last week against the Bears. So no faith lost in him. No confidence lost in him. Packers can get better. But yet here they are, 5-1, winners of 5 straight. We hope to see them continue to get better, and maybe it can develop into a special season. We don't know. It's still we're only going into week 7 action. Continuing here on Toss State of the State, we got to talk about the Brewers. And, you know, typically I do my Toss blog on tossnationmedia.com. And have a lot of words for Brewers postseason. And after game 1, it's like, wow, you know, what we thought was going to happen is happening. Stellar pitching, good defense, timely hitting. But then it's like, uh-oh, what we said was going to happen is happening. That offense. You only got 1 run-scoring hit out of Rowdy Tellez, 2-run home run in a 6th in game 1 off of Charlie Morton. And that was it. It was enough for you to win that ball game because the pitching shut it down. But it's a cause for concern, as it has been all year long. We've seen this team have stellar pitching performances and not get a lick of offense to back them up. And that's exactly what happened in this series. I thought it would possibly be flip-flopped. I thought that the Brewers' pitching was far and away better than Atlanta's, and I still believe that it is. But the offenses were the difference. I thought the Braves, as free swinging as they were, would not be able to connect enough off of Brewer pitching to score the nearly 5 runs a game they had in the regular season. I did not expect the Brewers to be on an absolute offensive drought, but I should have seen it coming because we've seen this happen multiple times during the season. A lack of offense rears its ugly head, and the Brewers go on an ugly streak. I said before that the Brewers cannot come into 2021 with that same putrid offense from 2020. Can't do it. Cannot do it. But they did, but they dressed it up with launch angles and a lot of home runs and guys driving in runs and going on a little bit of a hot streak offensively. But this was really an offensively challenged ball club. Let's be real. It's still the same lame offense from 2020, just with a little bit more pop in the bat. It's like you got a bunch of Mark Reynolds, and I don't know how many people remember Mark Reynolds, but you remember Mark Reynolds. He was feast or famine. It was home run or nothing. That's what this Brewers offense reminded me of. Adames, Garcia, Tellez, Yelich, Kane, all those guys. If they weren't hitting bombs, they really weren't driving many people in. And there weren't really many runs being scored. You went from having 1 run scoring hit in game 1 to having none in games 2 and games 3. Game 4, you came through barely because you were fighting for your playoff lives, but ultimately you lost because you could not keep up offensively with the Braves. It's really disappointing. And it's really quite infuriating. Disappointing and infuriating enough is that the Brewers decided not to re-sign their hitting coach, now their former hitting coach, Andy Haynes. They did not renew his contract. They dismissed him, essentially, fired him, essentially. Hey, we're not going to renew your contract. Bye. We need to go a different direction. In this day and age of analytics, and saying, oh, well, this type of a hitter and this type of situation and with this type of a launch angle, This player X find this amount of success. And it's like, can we please get guys up there who could just flat out hit? Yeah, the big bomb to win the game is great. You love to see it. The tape measure shots are great. You love to see it. But what I love to see is when you need a rally and you have to string some hits together, I want to see some guys up there that could go up there and actually hit the damn baseball. Situational hitting. Knowing what the hell they're going up there to do because the situation calls them to do so, and they're able to execute. You don't have a lot of guys on this team that are hitters like that. At one point, we thought Christian Yelich was that guy that could go up there and do that, but his last 2 seasons, now your eyebrows are all the way raised. Like, okay, one season, we get it. It was a short season. We were in the throes of COVID, the early days of COVID. He was coming off of an injury the year before where he was having another MVP-like season, coming off of the year before where you actually won the NL MVP. So, okay, all right, shortened season, injury-riddled season, okay, he'll bounce back the next season. Nope. Same injury-riddled season, same putrid, paltry results. And this was a guy that you felt could potentially figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that he can't figure it out, but it's been 2 seasons. Is this just what he is now? And now you're coming to the fat part of that big extension that you got for $215 million. It's health. It's the ability to go up there and execute situational hitting. Actually giving it down whether or not you strike out instead of striking out, try to put the ball in play and make something happen. Brewers did none of that. Did not stay healthy enough. Could not go up there and do really well in situational hitting situations. Could not score runs. And that's just what makes you so mad. That's what makes this particular elimination so maddening. It was all right there for them, and they just could not execute. That's on the players, that's on the coaches, and that's on the organization. Not getting hitters in here that can hit. Not getting hitters in here that know what the situation is and can execute in the situational hitting situation. It really feels like a wasted opportunity. You had historic pitching. Historic pitching. And for what? An offense that wouldn't even be able to get you half a run a game. Brewers are done. They're out of the playoffs. Atlanta advanced. They're in one hell of a NLCS against the Dodgers. Talk about that later in the tall sweep. You really wonder what they're going to do. You really wonder what moves David Stearns and the rest of that brain trust in the front office has. What kind of offense can they really find? What type of hitters can they really find? That's what's holding this team back from potentially going to a World Series. The pitching is phenomenal. The hitting, I don't even have the word for it. Continuing here on Tall State of the State, we have to talk Milwaukee Bucks basketball. That's right, the NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks finally out of the preseason. Didn't do so hot, but who cares? It's preseason. Giannis's jumper was looking real smooth. Made comments on that on Twitter at D20Double. Follow me there. A call for people to stop disrespecting the champs because they're a damn good team. And I've said it, and I've said it multiple times, both on this program and in the Toss blog, that on paper, this team is much better than the team that won the NBA championship last season. I really do feel that way. Well, now we had our first chance to look at them. Obviously, ring night, banner night, wonderful experience, wonderful event that was held on. Senator Cole, who used to own the Milwaukee Bucks, when he sold, he made sure the owner, whoever he sold it to, had to keep the team in Milwaukee. That was the big ask, the big caveat on him selling the team. You have to keep it in Milwaukee. Saved basketball in this state, NBA basketball in this state multiple times. He got his ring. So happy to see that. Jim Paschke, emceeing the event. Love seeing him there. Had on the I Love Giannis shirt, where a big shout out to Giannis when he was wearing the I Love Basketball shirt while celebrating an NBA championship. Nice embrace between those two after Giannis finally got his coveted championship ring. Great embrace between those two. Just enjoying seeing the whole team get their rings and going through that whole experience and seeing that there's going to be another banner in Fiserv. That 1971 banner is not going to be so lonely anymore. Now you got the other banner over there, and it's going to fly there forever. So now you got that out of the way. That was the final celebration of the championship. You got your dope ring, and they are dope. Got your banner up there. Larry O'Brien is going to, trophy is going to be put in a nice, neat little display somewhere. Now you got to get after it again. And I love what Chris Middleton said. He said we have to act like it didn't happen and try to go and do it again. Refocusing, saying, yeah, we're champs. And some people might call us the champs, but we were the champs for last season. We won a championship last season. This is a new season. And I love that approach. It was straight and utter domination on the basketball court over the Brooklyn Nets. Had to deal with a lot of their fans over the summer and a lot of people trying to poo-poo the championship that the Bucks won, as if they wouldn't have beaten a healthy Nets team, as if the Bucks weren't healthy. Dante DiVincenzo was missing. But it was straight domination, a 127-104 victory. Love seeing the domination from the Bucks. Grayson Allen found himself into the starting lineup, which I figured he would, especially with Dante DiVincenzo still trying to come back from injury. Had a lot of guys out. A lot of guys you had out. Bobby Portis among them. We already mentioned Dante. So you weren't even playing with your full deck. Giannis comes out in 31 minutes, gives you 32, 14, and 7. Jumper still looking smooth. One dribble free throw, so you could throw those counts out the window. Shut up forever. Milton, his consistent self. Pat Connaughton coming through with 20 points off the bench. Jordan Wara, a player that I wanted to get more time last season. I've been banging the drum for that since last season. Finally getting an opportunity. He put in 15. A lot more movement on the offensive end. Getting after it defensively still. It was really a good showing for game 1 of 82 in the 75th NBA season. And you wonder if there's more of that to come. I think there is. I don't think this was one of those things on a ring night where you didn't want to be embarrassed and lose on ring night like some other champions have. This is just who the Bucks are. They are a team that can absolutely dominate. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, this roster, this team, as currently constructed, to me, seems to be better than the team that won the championship. Now, we've got a long way to go. There's 81 more games. You're going to have your ebbs and flows throughout the entire season, as you normally do. You're going to have your challenges with keeping guys healthy. Drew already went out the rest of the game against the Nets with a heel contusion. He may or may not play in their next game. MRI came back clean, so we're all good there. Like I said, you already have a bunch of guys who are out, including Bobby Portis and Dante DiVincenzo. But that's the ebbs and flows of the season. Bucks have been flat out dominant under Mike Budenholzer. There is no other way around it. Won a lot of ball games in 3 seasons. Won a championship. What will the motivation be? Will the motivation be to win another championship? Is that what their driving force is? Or are they taking that same approach that they've always took and trying to be better than the game before? And to me, especially with the statement by Middleton saying, hey, we have to forget about the championship that we won last year. We have to forget about it and try to work toward another. Act like we didn't even win it. I think they are very serious. I think they are very focused. They're trying to be better than they were the game before. But I think we're going to return back to that dominance that we saw in those first couple of seasons under Mike Budenholzer. This team's going to win a lot of games. They're going to put themselves in prime position to do it for another run. But as I said before, it's only game 1 of 82. We have a long way before we can even start talking about playoffs. But I'm pleased with what I saw on the court from the Milwaukee Bucks. Ring night, banner night, just absolutely stupendous night all the way around. And that's the state of the state. Mason Crosby almost kicked the game away in Cincinnati, but he ended up getting the W for him. The Bears were no match in the end by their new owner, Aaron Rodgers. Packers won 5 straight. They're 5-1. The Brewers out of the playoffs, flamed out, horrible performance, fired their hitting coach or dismissed them, whatever you want to say. We'll see what they come up with as far as a new hitting coach and new offense. And the Milwaukee Bucks finally hanging their championship banner, finally getting their dope rings, and continue the business on the court of domination. Game 1 of 82 was looking real, real good. It's time for us to run the toss sweep. The toss sweep brought to you by the good folks over at tossnationmedia.com. Toss Nation Media. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports. It's what you deserve. We got a bit of a mixed bag here in the toss sweep. Mostly dealing with predictions. We got to start off with the WNBA. Shout out to the ladies of the WNBA. Not just for their vaccination rate. It's at about 100%. But the stellar season and the extra stellar, if that's even a word, the extra stellar playoffs they were able to put on. My hat's off to you, ladies. Standing ovation. It was just a phenomenal, phenomenal playoff run. A lot of people don't like the single elimination in the first couple of rounds. I kind of think it brings some intrigue, especially when you can bounce the defending champions at that time, the defending champions, Seattle Storm, in one game, and you get 2 all-time greats going at it. in that one-game playoff, somebody's going home between Taurasi and Sue Bird. I mean, it was just phenomenal all the way through. I thought it would be the Connecticut Sun and the Las Vegas Aces, which was my pick to win it all this past season. And neither one of them made the finals. Chicago beats Connecticut, and Phoenix beats Las Vegas in an incredible game, incredible elimination game in the semifinals. You know, Jackie Young was hot in that quarter, and she poked the bear. She poked Diana Taurasi. Diana Taurasi had, I believe, she was playing with a fracture in her foot and a sprained ankle, and she went out there in the fourth quarter and lit those ladies up and propelled Phoenix into the WNBA Finals, where they met up with Candace Parker, who went home to Chicago. Got them into the playoffs. Won in the semifinals over the hottest team in the league in the Sun. They had a double-digit win streak to close the season out. So now they got a chance to right a wrong back in 2014 when they were matched up against, guess who? The Mercury again. They didn't win that time, but they won this time. She goes home and brings a championship in her first season with her hometown team, the Sky. So congratulations to the Chicago Sky. They had their parade today. I wish, because I saw footage, I wish there were more people that were able to attend that parade. I really do. They deserve it. They're a hell of a team. James Wade over there, Courtney Vandersloot, Allie Quigley, Kalia Copper, Finals MVP, with one of the all-time iconic pictures of her looking at Sophie Cunningham of Phoenix. If they had a little bit of a skirmish. It's a phenomenal job by those ladies all the way around. Phenomenal job by the Sun. Excuse me, not the Sun. The Mercury all the way around. Taurasi, the GOAT, playing with the injuries that she played with. But Brittany Griner, who very well could have been MVP this year, but Jonquel Jones got it. She had an MVP season to me. And she kicked it up a notch in the playoffs. She was phenomenal. The whole squad was phenomenal. Skylar Dickens-Smith, phenomenal, the lefty. So congratulations again to the Sky. Congratulations to the WNBA on a fantastic season. Can't wait to see what next season brings. But I got those predictions all the way wrong. I thought for sure it was going to be Connecticut and Las Vegas in the finals, with Las Vegas taking it, and they couldn't get past the GOAT. They couldn't get past Phoenix. They were up double digits in that game, and then Jackie Young had to go and start talking and start poking Taurasi, and that was it. She went and lit them girls up. 14 points in the fourth quarter. Whew. Yeah. That'll end you quick. Talk about more wrong. The MLB postseason. Man, I ain't been right on anything. I've been right on absolutely nothing. I thought the Brewers would beat the Braves. Nope, Braves won that. I thought that the Giants would beat the Dodgers. Nope, defending champions win that one in a game, an NLDS of between two teams who have won 100-plus games. I mean, that was just a heavyweight tilt. Thought the Rays would win. Nope, they didn't. They didn't win either. Red Sox are still playing. I'm not even going to sit here and try to predict who's going to win these LCSs, because I just don't know. Now, it feels as if Atlanta, especially after last night's game, the way they were up, it was 2-0. They're up 2-0 in the series. They have a big lead going into the 8th of Game 3, and the Dodgers rally back to win that game. It's now a 2-1 series. The last thing you want to do is give a defending champion any type of life. You go 3-0, that series is about to be over. OVER, over. Capital letters with exclamation points on the end. Over. Nope. You gave them life. You gave them life. Astros back in it. I didn't think they would make it this far. A lot of people don't like that. They don't like the Astros being this close to another World Series after their whole cheating scandal from a couple years ago. But they're close. They're almost there. But I won't dare try to make a prediction on this. Now, when it gets to the World Series, I feel a little bit more confident given the teams that could potentially be matched up. But I have no idea who's going to win between these two teams, between these four teams in these two series. I have no clue. I will be honest with you. I have no clue. No idea. I usually have a feel one way. Nope. And that's just the beauty of postseason. You can have a feeling one way or the other. And you in good faith, make your great prediction. You've done the work. You've watched the teams. You analyze what you needed to analyze, and you make your predictions confidently, as I did. And they just all end up being wrong. But that's also the beauty of postseason. What you think you know, all that goes out the window. It's do or die. Every pitch is magnified. Every at-bat is magnified. That is the drama and the intrigue of the MLB postseason. And we're getting all that and then some this year. It's been fantastic. So when the World Series matchup is finalized, I will make a pick, I promise you. But these LCSs, just enjoy them. It has just been fun to watch. Well, y'all, that'll do it for me. That was episode 98 of Toss Tristain on Sports Show. Y'all know where to find me on social media at the20double. That's at the number 2, the number 0, and the word double. Facebook.com/T on Sports Show is the Toss on Facebook page. We touch on a lot of things there we don't necessarily get to on the show. That's Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. And of course, TossNationMedia.com. Your home for the Toss brand of sports. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports. It's what you deserve. But as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. It's been T-Squared, Tristain Thomas, reminding all of you to keep it moving forward. Always forward. Forward always. Until next week. So long from Toss.